Hi, I'm Rachel Lancaster, and this is the Magnificent Midlife Podcast. This is where we celebrate women in midlife and beyond. We challenge the status quo and bash those negative stereotypes about being an older woman. We're not over the hill at 40, 50, 60. We're just getting started, and the world needs us now more than ever. I'll be talking all things midlife and sharing some fabulous stories of amazing women doing very cool stuff. Now's our time. My guest today is Christie Glascoe, otherwise known as Chatterbox Christie, and she describes herself as an author, editor, screenwriter, creative coach and professional life lesson learner, which I think is a wonderful way of describing oneself. And she says she tries to make adulting fun while putting her gift of the gab to good use. So welcome, Christie. It's lovely to have you here.
Thank you, Rachel. I appreciate it. I'm glad to be here.
So we were just chatting before I hit record about life where you are and life where I am.
Right.
At time of recording it, the UK we've just gone into like proper lockdown, and now we can only go out to get food, or if we absolutely have to, and we can go out for exercise once a day. So, Christie, what's it like where you are?
Well, I am in Atlanta, Georgia, in the United States. Right now, it's sort of every city for themselves in a way. I mean, our governor has put out some, things that have to be done, which is no more restaurants and bars. Like you can't eat inside. You either do drive-through or pickup or delivery. It's strongly encouraging that. A lot of restaurants have put in place this contactless exchange of your food, meaning you can pay for it ahead of time, so you're not exchanging money, and then they may be handing your bags over to you on trays so that only you are touching it and things like that. Keeping contact minimal. We can still go to grocery stores and things like that. We are not on, like, at least where I live, it's not like super strict lockdown. But everybody is sort of just practice. I'm very, at least in my area, I'm very pleased to see that people are just consciously doing it. Parks, I believe, are closing now, which is really unfortunate because, everybody wants to get out and get some exercise now. In other parts of our country where parks are still open, there's like droves of people still showing up and having parties in the park, which a lot of states are trying to cut down on. And I was just very pleased that in my area, the day that I actually went out to the park with my kids and my sister and my nephew, it was a soccer park. So there's big soccer fields there as well as walking trails and whatnot. And because of the fields, people were able to keep nice sizable distances between each other. Even my kids were able to, they're kicking a ball, so they're, distancing themselves. And even people on the walking trail were very mindful of keeping more than 6 feet apart. Of course, you have runners passing, and you saw people really, stepping aside, not like, but, sort of like, okay, somebody's coming, so let me just kind of ease a little bit farther over than you probably would normally on a trail, but it was about 30 or so people out there, that day that I went. That was last week. And everybody was really, now the only thing that I was sort of like, yikes about was that people were still letting their kids play on the playground. Like playgrounds are gross on regular days, but it's like now you're like extra, like I don't see any hand sanitizer. I don't see any wipes in anybody's hands, like, and I'm really leery of public restrooms right now. But it was nice to see that people were, at least in my community, were trying at least to do the right thing. But now I'm hearing that the parks are going to be closed now, which, it's working out because it's been raining for several days, but it is supposed to warm up and be like in the 80s come this weekend. And people are going to lose their minds.
Yeah, of course. It's really warm where you are, isn't it, already?
Yes,
Wow.
we're about to skip right into summer. We sort of skip over seasons a lot. We tend to sometimes skip over winter.
Yeah.
I think we had like 2 days of winter, and that was it. And so we went right from like summer to something resembling fall, and then we may or may not have a spring, and then we're just going to be like on fire in a month.
Oh my goodness.
and people are going to be nuts. No festivals, no parties, no, you know, graduations and proms and all that have been
Mm,
canceled. These poor teenagers. My daughter's a
mm.
soccer player. She's about to go stir crazy. So yeah, it's interesting. It's
And this
interesting.
this is only the beginning, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we're just at the we're not even in it. Well, we're in it pretty darn good, but from what experts are saying, we got a long road to go. So,
Yeah. I mean, what I'm seeing, it's very interesting for me because I have friends and relatives all over the world. So I kind of, I have friends in Asia and family in Asia actually. And
mm,
they've been sort of telling me the China side of it, where it's
yeah,
been in that loop for a long time. And then I've
yeah.
got a very good friend, an American who's in Paris, and she was giving me the lowdown because she's been in lockdown for over a week, serious lockdown.
Wow.
In Paris they have to have a permit to walk their dog. And in fact they
Geez, a
all they
permit.
all have to have a permit to go outside, and they have to print them off. She was telling me this, and she's run out of print on her printer. So she's thinking, well, how am I going to print them out? If I haven't got any ink,
If I have any ink and I
she
can't
doesn't
go
have
get
ink for
any
her
ink,
printer. Yeah. So in fact, yesterday she was out looking she was out looking for printer ink so that she could print out some more permits to be allowed out. And then I got a friend in New York who's giving me the New York angle. In fact, my son is also in New York, so
oh
I'm getting it
goodness,
from
I hope they
him
stay
as well.
safe.
Yeah, so me too.
Oh goodness.
But so it's interesting to see, the level and the way that I mean, I think we've been very behind in the UK, and I think
Hmm.
America's very behind as well,
Yeah,
because you
yeah,
can
we
see
are.
what's happening, and you can act now. And that's the thing: are you going to act now, or are you going to wait until
Right, because we're
it's too
already
late?
late. We're already behind.
Mm,
So and it's like everybody's craving getting back out and getting back to their regular life,
mm,
which at this point I don't believe anything's going to go back to complete normal. We are forever changed by this. Um, but to get back to doing the things that you love to do, you're going to have to be uncomfortable for a little while.
mhm.
And it's people's willingness to not, or unwillingness to be uncomfortable. It could be temporary if you all would just cooperate. But the more you don't cooperate, the longer this is going to last. So could you just cooperate? And I guess it's hard for me. I'm coming from a place where I have been an entrepreneur for 20 years.
Mm,
I have worked from home
mm,
all that time.
mm,
This is nothing. And then being a writer for 10 of those 20 years of
mm.
entrepreneurship, I've lived a very sedentary and very, inside my house kind of life.
Yeah,
This is regular.
yeah.
The weirdest thing for me is that there's more people in the house all the time.
Yes.
That's the weirdest thing for me, is that I don't have the solitude, and I'm sharing devices, and it's like my son and I are tag teaming on the computer. He's like, I need the computer. I'm like, but I need the computer. It's sort of, and using iPads. And so that is the biggest change for me, is just having to accommodate my regular daily schedule with everyone else's, you know, online school work and things like that, which it hasn't been so bad. But I take that for granted. I guess that it's like, what is everybody whining about? What's the big deal? But I'm like, but that's, I'm like, just go inside and watch Netflix. Oh my God, why are you whining? But I have to realize, okay, I have a different perspective than most people. I have, made being a hermit a profession. This is the most dressed up I get, and I'm still at home. It's like I actually put on like a necklace for this experience.
Oh, I feel
I put on
privileged.
lipstick. It's like normally, you don't want to know what's going on down here. Let's just say that. Let's just say
Oh, it's
it's like from
pajamas
here,
with the waist, is it?
right, from the waist down, it's all, you know, not that thing.
That's
So
hilarious. That's just like me. I'm exactly the same because I've worked from home for over a decade, and I
yeah,
write and I
I do this
Right.
podcasting from
Right.
my home office. This is my home office in my back
Right.
garden. So yeah, you and I, it's like, well, welcome
We
to
have
our
a whole
world. This
different,
is
right.
what we
Like,
do.
it's like, yeah, and I love it in a sense that it's like for all the people that were like, "Oh, you have it so easy because you work from home." I was like, "Yeah, now you're getting to see that it ain't all that it's not roses, to work from home. You have to, decide between homework and work and because everything is staring at you constantly and begging for attention. It's like you've got a deadline and laundry. you know?
And laundry looks so appealing sometimes, doesn't
Right.
it? It's like-
Working a little too close to my bedroom sometimes. Now, granted, we do have luxuries, that we could like take a nap if we wanted to. But most days are not like that. It's like, I think the misconception of what the work from home life is, and even from, looking at this virus and people having to work from home, corporations really realizing that they can actually let people work from home, may see that your workers quite possibly may be more productive at home because they are more relaxed and they can take breaks, and there's not that pressure of sitting in a monkey suit in a cubicle looking busy all the time instead of actually being busy, or maybe just being miserable because they're not comfortable. Because I realized that even when I was still working in corporate America 100 years ago, um, that those days that I had the opportunity to work away from the office, I got so much more done because I was relaxed, I was comfortable, I was in an environment that I enjoyed, I had plenty of natural sunlight, I was in my pajamas or sweatpants at least, and able to just really focus on my work. I mean, I would just look up and 5 hours are gone. And I'm hoping that this is one of those things that changes, that people will see that. And I'm hoping that people who are working from home are doing what they're supposed to do so that they can keep their jobs and can possibly segue into a more flexible lifestyle when this is all over, and that they see that it can work. Because I think a lot of people were just adamant, like, this can't work. And I know over in Europe, the laws are a little bit more relaxed for working parents and things like that, people on maternity leave. But over here, it's not. I mean, women are leaving their tiny babies and going back to work very, very soon. I'm hoping that they see, okay, I can give this person a little bit more time and they can still work. They can still work. If everybody does their part, and so much can change for the better. Everybody is going to breathe a little easier. Life will go on. The world will keep spinning. The economy could thrive, could really thrive from this experiment. It's a sucky way to learn.
It sure is.
It's a sucky way to learn, but it's an opportunity. It's an opportunity for women like us in our age bracket, and men too, to where we were sort of trying to figure out what we were going to do in our next chapter, and now it's being thrown at us like head first.
Exactly. Yeah.
Head first. So if you weren't working, or you were contemplating retirement, or just thinking, okay, I want something different for this time in my life, now you got some time to think about it,
Mm.
and really actually put some effort into it. Do adulting differently, as I
Yeah,
like to.
exactly. But I mean, for example, whoever invented the open plan office, was certainly not an efficiency expert, were they? Because I find it so much easier to concentrate and work at home, even
Yeah,
with the distraction of the laundry or
right.
tidying my socks,
Or
whatever
Netflix.
it might be on there.
Right.
But the environment is already also improving
Improving.
radically
Yes.
because we're
Yes.
not moving around. We're
Yeah.
not,
And we're not polluting the air. We're not driving. We're not smoking, maybe.
but we're not
I don't know.
flying. There's just
Not fly. Yeah,
the air
flying.
quality
Flying.
has just gone.
We're not on trains. We're
Yeah,
not
we're not
doing
driving
any.
around.
Yeah. We're not doing anything that's emitting toxins, which is great. It's almost like, from a cosmic sense of things, like Mother Nature is sidelining us so that she can repair herself or something.
It really feels to me like that. I've seen some discussions of that, and it really feels, it's like almost as if she's saying, well, yeah, you can have this so that I can breathe for a bit.
Yeah. Yeah, if I could just make y'all stay at home. Okay, how can I make you guys stay at home? Well, natural disasters aren't working, like earthquakes and all that kind of stuff. That's not working. So yeah, I'm not taking drastic measures. And I know people might, take that the wrong way and be angry at me for saying that, but it's hard not to even just think possibly that could be what's going on. I mean, we're all connected. We're all connected to this
Mm,
world, whether you want to realize it or not. And
mm,
you know, as we've seen, it's a the cycle, circle of life, all that kind of stuff. It's
mm,
not necessarily like, oh, we got to kill people off. No, I'm not at all saying that. But I think it's a, let's put you inside for a minute and cleanse. And
mm,
in the earth cleansing, we're also getting the opportunity to cleanse ourselves, to rethink
mm,
things, to realign ourselves with our purposes, to realize there are different ways of doing things versus how we thought everything had to be done. And I'm hoping that that's what's happening now, that we're all taking a second. I mean, I love seeing how creative people are getting now with, okay, this was my work and now I can't do it this way. So how can I still do it, in this new normal? And I love seeing just how innovative people are being.
mm.
And now is the time. Like, if you didn't think that you could be creative, I'm hoping it's hitting you like a thunderbolt right now.
That was going to be one of my questions, actually, whether you'd already seen an uptick in creativity, because
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Oh yeah. I'm encouraging it. I'm trying to, I'm actually working on some things that I plan on rolling out at the end of this week, to one, for coping, because for me as a writer, writing is not just my work, it is air for me. I'm always writing, whether I'm writing for a client or writing for, I'm working on these screenplay projects that I've been involved in, or just journaling. Like, that is how, from a very young age, when I was, not with many friends, and just, not having many friends, not being able to confide in my parents, just feeling very isolated and very alone, writing, whether it was a journal or writing stories, was how I got through. That was my therapy. That was how I let all my feelings out when I had no one to let them out to. This was, when therapy was pretty much non-existent for kids unless you had a problem,
Mm,
and really is taboo for most people, especially in the Black community. So although my folks, we embrace therapy wholeheartedly, but not everybody does. But as a kid, that was sort of an unheard thing. I mean, you didn't go to therapy as a kid unless you had serious issues.
mm,
So I didn't really hear the word therapy until I was an adult. So writing was my way out, and it always has been. And what I'm seeing and listening to friends and clients and things like that is, people who aren't like me, who aren't used to this lifestyle. And they're like, they have in less than a week have gone from, you know, I don't know, C-level employee to in the house homeschooler. Like, what the hell? You know,
yeah.
Especially those who have little kids, they are losing their minds, and rightfully so.
Mm, mm,
But they have no outlet, or feel like they're like, I don't know what to do with this. So I have been like, have you ever thought of journaling? Like, have you ever just
mm.
thought? And they're like, I don't know what to do. What to write in a journal. It's like, that's the whole point. You just write anything. You do anything. You can draw stick figures. Just do anything to sort of just do that. And even with those folks who not necessarily need something to cope, they're more like, I have more time on my hands than I'm not commuting anymore.
Yeah.
My workload because you're not in an office having to invent things to do to be busy in that 8-hour period, you're finding that you're getting your work done quicker. So now all those things that they claim that they didn't have time for, like writing a book, knitting, I don't know, whatever, that now I'm trying to encourage is like, well, now think of what was that list of things that you said you couldn't do because you didn't have time? And then what was the I don't have time that it come from? Your commute, your kids' activities, which again, non-existent. All the things. And those things that I rattled off myself. Like, don't get it twisted. Just because I worked at home doesn't mean that I had moments of saying, I don't have time. I have 2 student athletes that are teenagers. My life after my work hours ended, I was all mom. So there wasn't anything for a personal creative outlet all the time. I was either doing client work or running after them. So I always had to carve out time to have that creative outlet just to be able to breathe. But even now, my work has changed a little bit, even already being at home, because my clients, their life has changed. So now my work is changing. My kids are now home. There's no more soccer. There's no more track. There's, no more of those things. So now I'm like, well, how can I be innovative with what I'm doing now? So I am seeing a need for that. I'm seeing a desire, not even say a need. I'm going to say a desire for people to be like, this is I really am hoping and trying to encourage people to see the opportunity that we have been given. Yes, it is a crap ass way to get this to get this opportunity. Sucks big time. Not trying to ignore that, not trying to make light of it, but to save your sanity.
Yeah.
Please try to see that there is opportunity for you to tap into those gifts that you have let lie dormant, especially those of us of this age. We are the forgotten generation, Gen X, and even some of the baby boomers as well. Or I would say the later baby boomers into Gen X, we are of that generation of work hard at a company until you're dead. Or that if you're lucky to retire. But then they don't tell you what to do after you retire. It's like retire and what? Rock on the porch forever.
And go mad, go crazy, go
crazy,
lally.
right? Exactly. We are of that work hard. And then we're sandwiched in between the work hard baby boomer mentality and the people that we've given birth to, or our younger siblings or things like that are like, YOLO, I'm going to do things that make me happy. I don't want to work. So it's like, but we want to be free like that too. But we're still a work hard, but be free, but work hard, be free. And then people forget about us. They're always talking about baby boomers and they're always talking about millennials. I'm starting to hate millennials. Like, oh, you millennial scum. Bye, because they're taking up. We are forgotten. We are lost. Forgotten. We are forgotten about. It's like, do you get that you couldn't have millennials without us?
Yeah.
And when I tell people, it's like, okay, go ahead and talk about millennials all you want. They will never survive the zombie apocalypse because they don't know how to boil water. They don't know how to entertain themselves in a power outage. They think everything can be made in a microwave. So what happens when the microwave's gone? What you gonna do? So I tease, but still, it's like we have the best of both worlds.
Yes.
We have the knowledge and wisdom that we were given by our baby boomer generation. And, we have that latchkey kid. I don't know if you guys had that term.
Yeah, I know that.
Latchkey kid. Okay. So we have that. We have survival instincts that our parents didn't have, and the younger generation, because they need apps. We had maps. I mean, if technology failed, we could survive. You know what I mean? We know how to rub sticks together. I mean, we went to Girl Scouts.
Assuming there's still electricity, we know how to change a plug. I mean, it's as simple as that, isn't it?
Right. I mean, it's and I'm not trying to dumb down millennials. I know there's a lot. I mean, I'm very big on I call it educating my kids on the classics. It's like my mom lives with us too. So we are constantly telling them, look, this is how it used to be. We had the most hilarious discussion with them about why we say roll down the window in the car, because we actually had to
Used to
roll
roll it
down the
down.
window. And when we told them that, they were like you would have thought we told them we had to push our cars. I mean, they were like, what? You actually had to roll down. It's like, dude, our cars didn't even have air. That was your air conditioning.
Yeah.
That little triangle window in the back seat is all the air you got. Like, come on.
In fact, I can tell you
so,
honestly, we have such an old car that in the back, you still have to roll down the windows.
right, because there was a time where only the front had the power windows.
Yeah.
And
so
then
in the back, you have to roll them down.
You still had the manual labor it. I mean, my mom, we've been driving around my mom's 99 or 98 Accord.
Wow.
Which still is pretty primitive,
Yeah.
and my kids die in the summertime because they're like, there's no air vents back here. And I'm like, good Lord, you do not realize how good you have it. You're lucky you have air vents at all. We drove
This
around
car
with
has
no
wheels. What more do you want?
It's like, give it a minute, the air will circulate. Just calm down. But I think because of our generation, because of what we know, because what we were armed with from our parents, plus married to this modern technology, we could really do something with this time. I think we can come, and I'm really seeing it. I mean, I'm seeing some really interesting things coming from the younger generation, because I think they're very talented, and they're very, because they have a little bit more of the tech savviness, they know how to manipulate it a little bit better than we do, I think. And they're faster at picking it up, because, I look at Snapchat and TikTok and go, what the hell? This is too much hand-eye coordination here, I don't even. But so they can manipulate things faster, but I think we can take our old school expertise and marry it with what we have available today, and do some amazing things. And now we have been given that, we didn't have time before. We thought we didn't have time before. I'm a big, even before all this happened, I was like, you have the time, you just have to get creative about it. That's why it's like, my whole philosophy of creative adulting came from knowing that I was, I'm a single mom. I've got a budget that is tighter than size small Spanx. Being an entrepreneur, I'm trying to just hold my family together, but also I would like to enjoy myself. I would like to feel fulfilled. I would like to do the things that I want to do too. And our older generation and how we grew up, we were taught that you just don't. It's like, you have family, say goodbye to your dreams. It's all about work hard, feed your family. Don't worry about being happy, even to the point where I've even been told by older people, it's like, don't worry about enjoying your job. You just need a job. I'm sorry. Wouldn't I do better at said job if I enjoyed it a little bit? Again, sandwiched in that generation of the YOLOs and the work hard until you're dead, whether you like it or not. Don't take vacations, don't take days off, don't even take sick days. You got to work, you got to show up, all that kind of stuff. But I'm a human being. I deserve to be happy. I deserve to enjoy my life. So how do I do that given my circumstances? And it's all about being creative about how you do it. It's funny, I got the idea from Will Smith. It was really weird, but and that's a longer story. But I saw how he was sort of like, I'm going to live, when he turned 50, he was like, I'm going to live my life as full as possible. And you think, well, you're a celebrity, of course you can do that. Well, I started to think, he's living his life on his best terms within his capabilities to do so. I have to think about how I can do it within my capabilities to do so. I can't go try to be Will Smith. I can't go, there's no way in the world that I'm ever going to look like JLo, I need to not try. And that's because JLo has a whole team of professionals that are helping her. I don't have a whole team of professionals. So I have to do things within my realm of making it happen. And I think that's a lot of things that, unfortunately the younger generation is losing out on, because they're trying to compare themselves to other people that they see online and all that, and killing themselves to be like that. It's like, and even I've seen people my age that are like, I'm almost 50. I want to be JLo. It's like, but you're not JLo. So how can you be youlo within your capabilities?
Yeah.
You don't know what JLo is doing to do that. So don't act like you want to be like JLo. She's got people. Do you have people? No. So, okay, you want to do something JLo like within your capabilities of doing it. So why not try to work with what you've got and enjoy the present? Don't project so far in the future that you're like, I'm never going to get there. Don't be so held back by your past. Like, I should have gone to school for creative writing and now I'd be a best-selling author. Well, not necessarily. You can start writing today. Not worry about being a best-selling author. Just worry about writing that story that's been pressing on your heart for the last 30 years. And then we'll go from there, because that's what's going to bring you joy, is finishing that book, doing something that you love, finding the time every day to take that time to do that, and break those old molds that we can't be happy, that we've chosen this life to be parents, or we've chosen this life to be a CEO person instead of an artist. You can still be that artist. You can still have that creative outlet. You just have to be creative about how you choose to do it. No, you are not going to do it like some celebrity that you admire. You don't have their life. You're not them, but you're you. So do you, boo-boo.
No, I like that. Do you, boo-boo? That's funny. But I think so many women get to midlife. I mean, it happened to me because I hadn't prioritized creativity. And I never thought of myself as a creative person. But we're all creative, aren't we?
We are.
And women, I think, midlife particularly, sort of, and beyond, we have stories to tell, and a lot of women have a book in them that they want to get out. So how do you help people get stories out, get books out of them?
Well, first I start with kind of what we were talking about, is first looking at what your life is right this moment. In this moment, what is your life? What are you doing? What kind of work do you do? What is your schedule? What is all that? And I try to, what I like to call, dissect your day. And first just find out where you have time where you didn't think you had time. And it's not like filling every second of your day with something, because I'm not an advocate of that. We need rest. We need to recharge. We need to give ourselves a break.
Especially now, don't we?
Yes. And that's something else that women our age were taught young, that we put ourselves last. We don't get to rest. We got to suck it up, buttercup, and do what everybody else needs. We are last on our own lists. And we should at least be third. If everybody says be first, I would love to be first, but not every day. I can't every day be first. That's just a reality. I'm not trying to cop out. I'm not trying to say that, that's a crazy notion to put yourself first. And I think in a lot of ways we can put ourselves first in little ways, but we do know that sometimes a child's need or something like that, our parents, that if anybody's taking care of elderly parents, yes, their needs are going to trump yours upon occasion. But the trick is to not forget about yourself, to where you are dead ass last. We have to put our own needs and our own self-care, because if we go down, then everybody goes down. I mean, I just see when I get a cold and I'm trying to rest up to get well, and I'm still being nagged and, still having to do this. It's like, if you all would just let me rest and recharge and get myself well, then I can be what I need to be for everyone. But we have just been taught that that's our duty in life as women, to take care of everybody, and taking care of ourselves is selfish. So trying to help people understand that you can be a little selfish, and it is, like I said, a little selfish. So if it's hard for you to embrace that you need to put your needs first because you think that that's selfish, then start off by little things, just little self-care things. Before you get into the writing, you have to start prioritizing yourself, because if you don't start doing little stuff, then you won't do the bigger things. So I do stuff like, one client that I've worked with, I tell her that, I said, what is one thing that you do that's just you every day? And she was like, well, I get up earlier than everybody and I have my cup of coffee. And I said, okay, what do you do when you have that cup of coffee? She was like, I just drink my coffee. And I was like, bam, that's your one thing that you do for yourself every day. Now incorporate something else with that coffee. While you're drinking your coffee, why don't you have a journal and just start doodling? You don't have to write the book unless it comes to you. Just write whatever comes to mind. Write your thoughts, write your feelings, write what you see out the window. Just some kind of creative jump start. And as you do that, more ideas will come, probably things about the book that you want to write. And use that little coffee time to be your moment. You might not write anything else for the rest of the day, but that's your moment to take some little thing. Another thing I try to do is like just little things for yourself, like a self massage. When you get out of the shower and you're putting on your lotion, be a little bit more detailed in how you rub your shoulders and everything. So I'm like giving yourself a hug while you're moisturizing, and tell yourself nice things, and almost make it like a meditative type thing, to where, okay, for that 2 minutes it took me to rub lotion on myself, I just gave myself a little hug. I gave myself just a little pieces of self-care. Because when you're able to do that, then you're able to incorporate the bigger things, like actually taking a half hour to write something or whatever. So it starts with putting yourself first, because if you don't, then you're always going to be thinking, I don't have time to write a book. I never have time to write a book. You do. Now, can you write a whole book in a week? No, probably not. You are not Stephen King and cannot sequester yourself in an office in your house where nobody bothers you for a month.
You might be able to, some of us now.
Now you can you can adjust that a little bit, which I'm doing with my clients. It's like, okay, you had a writing schedule that went like this. Now that we are under this quarantine, how does that change? How do you have more time to write? And some of my clients like, I'm starting another story. Fantastic. Just whatever it is that will get you to not go crazy in all of this, and also have something that you have done that you can be proud of, something that I look at, even some clients, because I call myself a creativity coach, mostly focused on writing, but it's really more of helping people tap back into that creative outlet. I know someone who was a wonderful artist, a painter, that stopped painting for whatever reason. She stopped painting, and that has backed up on her, and it comes out in other ways, like excessive shopping, because she's not letting out in a better way. If she was able to paint, or allowed herself to paint, she's like, I don't have time to do that, and I can't do that anymore. Oh, no. But you're spending all your money. You know what I mean? It's like it can back up on you and come out in some other unproductive way, because you are repressing that urge. People who used to garden but don't anymore because they let life take over. People used to knit and they don't anymore because they let life take over. Life is slowing down now. Life is changing now. You are at home. You don't have to turn on the TV. You can get back to that thing what did you love? Do you have a guitar that's in the corner of your basement collecting dust that you haven't picked up in years because you didn't have time? Go down there and strum a little bit. Remember how that felt. Remember how writing stories felt when you were a kid. A lot of the workshops that I put on now are very, I like to play. I mean, I feel like a kindergarten teacher sometimes. It's like, let's do fun stuff. And I'm really mad now because they used to be in-person experiences. Like we would be together and I'd have these fun. Did I have it? No, it's not over here. Darn it. It's in the other room. Oh, wait, is it behind me? Oh, it is. This is my genre dice that I play with so like when we're doing prompts and working with like character study and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And I have like a prompt or a picture that they're supposed to write a story from. I go, okay, who wants to add a little extra mustard on their story by rolling the genre dice? So basically you roll the dice and whatever genre comes up, like horror, then your story has to be in the genre. And they love it because a lot of people have never written in that genre.
Yeah, yeah.
And I have people writing different things. Like my last workshop that I was able to do before the lockdown, I had a poet, I had a screenwriter, I had a fiction, a sci-fi fiction writer, and I had a children's book writer. And a lot of them rolled horror and but rose to the occasion because it was something different and it was something fun. And we had a ball. We are a generation that used to play. We were outside. We didn't sit in front of the television all the time. So I think that's another thing that's hard for us too, is that if you aren't like us where you work from home and now we're used to it, but if you are that person who went out to work every day, had that commute, had that set 8-hour day, and blah, blah, and you are of the generation that you went outside until it got dark and then you came home, this new normal is so like you thought you wanted it. It's kind of like when you were out there doing it, you're like, I wish I could stay at home. And now you're home, you're like, ah.
That be careful what you wish for, isn't it?
Be careful what you wish for. But that's what I'm trying to help us see is you can do something with this. It's like that long lost dream of yours. Now, of course, if you dreamed like I did of being on Broadway, but dance around in your family room. Turn on the Annie soundtrack and go for it. I mean, like I said, just allow yourself to, now you can do it. Now you can do it. So go ahead and do it, whatever it is. And you can bring writing into those things, after you gave yourself permission to pick up that guitar or pick up that ball of yarn and make something out of it, or paint something, paint a mural on your doghouse in the backyard. I don't know. Sit down with your coffee or your wine or your stout or whatever you want to be drinking and just muse about the experience. How did it make you feel? Did you come back alive? Did you notice anything about that? Did it bring you back to a time where you were really happy? Don't you want to keep that feeling going? So why not allow yourself a little time? Doesn't have to be a lot, just a moment a day, or even take it week by week. I even tell people that, if you can't commit to doing it every day, I get it. But at least once a week. Like my day, I try to make Fridays my free-for-all day. I try not to have a whole lot of work to do on Fridays. And that's when I try to tap into my own personal creativity, because it's extra difficult for me because I use my creativity for work. And I'm always helping other people with their creativity. I have to remember to save a little for myself. And that's hard. I'm always giving it away, and I have to remember, all right, save some for yourself because you have your own projects, that you have your own work that you want to do. You have your own gifts that you want to bring to the world. So save some for yourself. But, for everyone else, I feel like we were born for this moment. We have the tools. We stop forgetting about us. Gen X is awesome. We were born for this type of thing, to where we have the wherewithal to withstand this, whatever the hell's going on right now. And we have the opportunity to do something amazing with it if we allow it, or even if it's not just do something amazing that benefits others, we can at least get a sense of self that I think we got away from because of our generation and what we were taught, and the things that we grew up believing about how life works, how adulthood works. We can dispel some myths. If we take a minute and think about it, we can realize, you know what? It's not at all like what they said. If you are well and you have the moment to do something positive in the midst of all this negative, why not? Why? Just because someone else is miserable doesn't mean that you have to be. Yes, you can be compassionate about it. I'm not at all dismissing the agony that a lot of people are going through, but you have opportunity here. You have opportunity here to make your life into something that will carry beyond this crisis. Why not? Why not seize it?
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Magnificent Midlife Podcast. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe, share it, and leave me a review on iTunes or wherever you're listening. You can find out more information about this episode in the show notes at magnificentmidlife.com. That's also where you'll find strategies, support, and resources to help make your midlife magnificent. Why not sign up for a midlife breakthrough call with me to get clarity on how to make the most of your next chapter? Don't get stuck in what can sometimes be the messy middle. Help me change the world, one magnificent midlife woman at a time.